All right. Well, hey, everybody, I am not going to do like we normally do and go through the big old long intro or whatnot because I am running behind tonight. What's going on, Rich, man?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm sorry. I'm the one late. I really apologize. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, you know what? I was running behind too, man. So, I mean, it happens, man. Life happens, but it's good to have you on, man. What have you been up to?
Just writing the new record. You know, we have a new album coming out in October, so just doing a lot of time in the studio and just doing a lot of writing. Just getting the kind of band ready to go back out on tour and do some tour dates. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Always look forward to your new music that comes out, and when I get a chance, which is, oh man, it's so hard to go out and catch live shows. I know that sounds terrible.
God, no, COVID kind of slowed everything down, but yeah.
I think it did for everybody. It definitely, I mean, that's when I took my role as, you know, being out there, but actually playing live shows, and went to the other side of the desk and started focusing more on the back end and doing a little bit more radio promotion, stuff like that for some of the newer guys coming onto the scene. Trying to help out from what I learned not to do and teach them what not to do. I learned that really well.
I think that's everybody's way in the music industry, is learning the lesson first and then figuring it out.
Well, isn't it unfortunate that we have to go through that, though?
Yeah, I think it's the only way, though, because you think you can do something different, and then you're like, okay, I figured this out, and then that works. This doesn't, you know, because I mean, sometimes it does work and you hit home runs, and then sometimes you don't.
You're right about one thing. There is no way, shape, or form to know what really is going to work and what doesn't, because there's people that prove it wrong all the time, but that's a very small percentage versus being consistent and doing the things that it takes to at least get the attention that you need to move to the next level. And
yeah, well, it works. Like, you're right. For one artist, doesn't work for the other. So, you know, you see someone do something, you do it, then you fail at it, and you're like, okay, well, let's try it this way. And so it's kind of, some people get it off the first time, and sometimes people get on the 100th try, and the 100th try is going to be really expensive. But in the music industry, that's just how it works, man.
And then unfortunate, man. And you've been at this for a while, and that's why I chose the title that I chose for your appearance here, which was Doing Time and Paying Your Dues, which you definitely, I've watched your journey. You've definitely done that.
Yeah. 100%, man. You know, I just turned 39, so I consider myself old, but you know, guys like Robert Alkeen, like, just broke their career at 39. Yeah. I kind of hope that too, man. I think I got another good 15, 20 years to just hard work, and you know, we're recording our 8th record, and man, it's tough. You know, we hit the 1,800 show mark since I started in 2007 or 8. And here we are, 2023. I mean, and obviously we lost 2 years because of COVID, and that was terrible. COVID hit when I was like 36, and now I'm 39. So it's like, wow, I lost a good chunk of my career. But yeah, man, I mean, it is paying your dues. And like you said, the only way to really figure out how well works and who you are and how Rich O'Toole works is just to fail a lot, which we've done. But then you also get to make great records and put those out there and just see what works. And sometimes things work, sometimes songs don't, and that's it.
And one of the things that, you know, the reasons I do this podcast is to try to help out. You know, I can remember what it was like 20 years ago when I started doing this, and you're just like, man, what do I do? And like, I mean, this is what everybody tells me to do, but really, you're lost, man. You're like, how do I manage writing songs, recording, going to the studio, spending all that money, then turn around and then, oh my God, now I got social media I got to deal with, and I need someone to do that. And then, oh man, who's going to book my shows for me? And then, the list goes on and on and on. And then you get in the radio game and it's, oh, I got to spend money and hire a radio promoter now. And then you
Right.
got your artist management. It's like everybody's in your pocket, man. Can we talk about that a little bit and how you, in the beginning, how you overcame some of those challenges? Maybe there were some preparations you had to make, or strategy, schedule changes, or anything. Is there anything you could talk about for somebody
I
that might
didn't,
be
you know, I
listening
had
out there?
my parents, I were not wealthy, and I didn't. My mom, I guess, tried to help me out a little bit when I started, but I had to give my car to the bank to record my first record. They owned my car, and they gave me a $10,000 loan, and then I barely paid that off, and then had to borrow money again, and I felt like I was just always. That's why I had that song called Peter and Paul. I feel like I was always robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's terrible, man. I mean, and then people are always in your pocket. Now I just say no, 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 no. I only spend money on what things that work, that have proven to work, and I'm not quick to really pay someone to do anything unless I see that it works or it's making money. That's the only way you can really look at it. And the bad part of that is you have to spend money and fail to know that that avenue doesn't make money. And that's the hardest part, man. And I feel so bad for kids, especially kids that were from families that didn't have backgrounds with money or income, because it sucks they're using their hard-earned dollars on something in the music industry, as you know, that sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes radio doesn't work. If you pay a radio promoter, $5,000, and it's just not the right song at the time for radio, that can be really hard. So,
Big time. And you want to put your best foot forward. And I'm glad you said what you just said, because that is an average going rate for a promoter, is 5 to 10 grand easy.
yeah. And
And
we've had what, 23 top tens
right.
and 4 number one. I mean,
That
so
ain't
I've
no
spent
cheap
almost
journey.
$200,000 at Texas radio, and I don't know if it's always worth it or not. We had number ones that it was definitely worth it. That 5,000 was making me 10, but I've also had things fall flat where that 5,000 only made me 1,000. I took a $4,000 loss at radio, and that's just terrible. So giant
Yeah.
horse race.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think that's a misconception. Maybe even the public has sometimes, as well as some of the newer guys getting on the scene, and even some of us veterans and older people forget too. This is a business, and you have to run it like one, or
Yeah,
you're not going to be around to do it unless you've got some really deep pockets, or somebody with deep pockets that really believes in you.
and that's sad too. I mean, I've seen people, their families have gone, bankrupt on trying to believe in
Hmm.
their dream. Their daughter or son had a lot of talent. They just didn't execute it the right way. And I've seen myself lose money. I mean, it's been very tough. Man, it's been tough. It still is. Like the pandemic, I had to just live off my savings and stuff because we weren't doing
Yep.
radio or doing anything. Yeah, it's a hard business. I don't recommend getting into it.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, it's like of anything that I've learned to do. If I was going to tell anybody that wanted to get some way involved in the music industry and help artists or be involved in the music scene, I would tell them one of the best ways you can do that is learn marketing and advertising.
Yeah, they need
Um,
that. They need that the help.
because there's a lot of bigger corporations that are out there that don't have a music background that get these artists, and sometimes those results are just as bad as, let's be honest, some of the options in radio promotion. And we were just talking about that, and you were talking about 5 grand a campaign. Now, more recently, there's been an evolution in the music scene, and there's guys like myself and some others that are doing it for way less than that for these new people that are coming on.
Yeah.
Now, we're never going to touch a guy like that's where you're at. We're just not going to work with you because we're not qualified to, number one. At least if we have any common business, since we would never approach someone like you or
But it
even
could though.
accept.
I mean, you could. I mean, you could approach me and say, "Hey, Rich, we have a campaign and marketing. Really sit me down and go, for $2,000. We have this, and we think it could work." And I might throw that. I might throw money at that because I don't know. Maybe you do have a. Maybe you do. Look at Cody Jinks. Look at Cody Johnson.
Man, dude,
Two
Kojo,
Codys.
dude.
uh, They
Yeah,
found a
but
way.
I mean,
They found
really
a way.
both of
They
them,
threw
but
money at
Cody
stuff. And it
Johnson
worked.
especially did it so not textbook and did it his way
Right.
and led by example, man. I mean, like you got a lot of artists that he inspired to do that. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I know you can only say so much and you got to be careful what you say too. But the truth is the truth, man, and there is corruption in all areas of the music scene, and there has been for years and years, and it's never going to go away, and because
There's
money's
always
the root of
corruption.
all of
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
in
always.
everything, in anything and everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether it's music, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's government, whether it doesn't matter. Tennis, football, baseball,
Yeah.
karate, even martial arts, and there's look at wrestling, man. That was just all entertainment, man. Were you a
Yeah, it's
fan
a
of
giant. I
wrestling?
mean, in the music industry can be a giant. My son's in a bat second in t-ball because I'm the head coach, and all that bullshit BS. And it's like that
Yep.
too. Sometimes power moves, big bank takes little bank, all kinds of stuff, man. And I mean, I've been a victim of it. I've had my throat cut 17 times, man, and just had to get back out there and find a new way to promote Rich O'Toole or come out with a better record, come out with a better song.
Yep. No, and that's great you
Big
say
thumb
that.
down, and that's just what it is,
Well, I mean, that's like being proactive, number one. Number two, that's also keeping your mind positive. And instead of, hey, look, man, if you don't fall down and learn how to rise back up, sometimes when you do get successful, you fail because you
Yeah,
don't know how to handle the success.
100%. No, and I wouldn't change anything I've ever done because now I feel like I have a stronghold on anything that comes my way. I can handle it in a positive and spin it for a positive way or do something. Um, yeah, you know what? And remember that stumbling is not falling. You haven't fallen just because you're stumbling. Sometimes you stumble into a bad path, or sometimes you stumble into a good path, and you just have to figure out what works. And that's really it. Some guys are really smart at it, some guys aren't, and sometimes they're too nice. I realized that. Man, one of my biggest flaws in the music industry was I was nice to everybody. I would let other people go on after me on sets, on festivals. And looking back, I was like, man, they got the prime slot, and I was just being generous, and I should have been more of a, a
Yeah, well,
hole.
man, the
But it didn't
man
make me feel good
upstairs
at night.
saw all that.
Yeah, it didn't make
Yeah,
me feel good at night, and so that was the hardest part.
yeah. I always say that to myself when I look at things that I did like that, and I'm like, well, you know what? I was raised the way that you help other people. It's not just about you.
Right.
So first, and it's bit me in the ass too before too, letting someone you open for somebody that probably should have opened for you, and then all of a sudden they're getting the call back to the venue, and you're like, man, what did I do wrong? And
Right.
it's just stuff like that can happen, man, and sometimes it's warranted. There's been plenty of
Yeah.
times. There's always someone better than you, or that's going to be a better fit even where you think you're the greatest fit. And there was venues that I just knocked on the door so hard till they let me in that I wasn't ready to play, and I burned my bridge there because
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
still do
so
that too. I mean, to
impatient.
this day, there's times where I go play a venue that holds 4,000 and only 400 show up, and I was like, man, we jumped the gun, and it looks bad on the
Hmm.
brand, looks bad on the Rich Tool brand. And that still happens. It happens to everybody, unless you're Tim McGraw or George Strait. I mean, you can't really be that cocky on anything. You're kind of looking at everything as a giant chess move, and that's
That's
the
true,
hardest
and I mean
part
you
of the
got to
music
take
industry.
risks too and chances too.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know.
You don't know, and you can hit home runs too. I mean, it's a giant gamble. I was talking about that. I had lunch with a buddy of mine who's a concert promoter, and it's just like buying talent. You can buy a band for $4,500 and they could draw 100 people, or you could buy a band for 2,000. They bring 800, and all of a sudden you're rich. And it's kind of like gambling, just like radio promotion is. I'm gambling this $5,000 on if this song will do well, and if it doesn't, I'm out the money. It's not like any other business where I'm like, okay, I have $5,000 and steel pipe. I know at the end of the day I can scrap it and make my money back, but I'm going to try to see if I can sell it. It's not like that. You don't know what you're going to get in return.
No, man, it's like
Um,
crypto right now.
yeah, it's like a music casino, and you're like, man, I thought it worked. So it's a scary, it's a really scary business, man.
Well, and I'm glad you're saying these things, man. You seem, I know you and I have never personally talked.
Yeah, I know, I knew, but I know who you are,
Outside
and
of
that's
maybe
why I came on the
a
show.
message here or there over the years or whatever, but I've always respected what you've done and loved watching your journey. And I was like, oh crud, man, I'm gonna get Rich on there. I was like, man, how come I haven't had him on before? And I think a lot of that has to do with almost like what I said earlier. Well, we're providing, a service. I'd never approach a guy on your level, and you're like, well, why not? and you're like, you don't know. I
Yeah.
might say yes. I think some of that is maybe it's fear of the unknown. Maybe it's, maybe it's assuming instead of opening a mind and you're teaching me something here right now, brother. Hey, why don't you keep a positive mind about it? Present your offer, and if they don't like it, that's great. But I mean, you're not going to hit a home run if you're not swinging, right?
Yeah, and this funny is like the biggest guys in our scene, like even bigger than what you're thinking. I mean, it's just like the top of the top. I've gotten more communication with than the guys that are just a little bit above me. So shoot for the stop. I mean, all they can do is say no. I mean, don't be annoying about it. Don't send them 18 emails in 3 weeks, but just
Why
put
not
yourself in
though,
front of them and say,
Rich?
hey, what do you think about this? The worst they can do is say no. I mean, it's just like any other business. I mean, if you're selling, safety goggles at Tractor Supply Company and you're scared to go to Tractor Supply's headquarters, you're never gonna get the big sale, man. So I mean, and people like to talk. I like to go on podcasts. I said I want to try to do 40, 50 this year, and you're one of the first. And it's good. Hell, it's good practice to get on here and just talk about what you think is on your mind. So yeah, you never know, man. Ask. That's the music
Well,
industry. You never know until you ask.
well, we also had, about a year and a half of where we weren't able to, other than something like this,
Right.
communicate. So I also think that kind of, not everybody jumped on that wave. Like I saw a lot of people that we didn't see until the pandemic was completely over, and then all of a sudden here they are again. And
Yeah,
they didn't.
I didn't like the fact, like, we had a record deal out of Nashville, and
Uh-huh.
we dropped the album during the pandemic, and it sucked. It tanked. I mean, it didn't tank, and we made the money back on it. It still got over 1 million streams. I wouldn't call it a tank. I would just say, like, because it was the
It didn't do
pandemic, I
what you
couldn't tour, I couldn't do any press, I couldn't do radio, I couldn't do anything.
right.
And then
Nothing.
the record label was like, get on your laptop every day and sing to your fans. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm a live guy, man. I'm like, I want to go to the venue. I want you to buy a ticket in person, and I'll just wait the 2 years out. And it hurts my career. It hurts my career. But that really opened the floodgates to all these, like, some really non-talented people that got on TikTok every day and built this following. And it's like, well, wait till they have to go on the road and miss their wives and sleep in Motel 8s and visit radio stations and meet fans and go in person and do it live.
The
It's a
hard
hard business.
stuff.
They're not going to make it on that. And so
No,
I was
man, they're
sitting
not
back
going to
looking,
be able to
going, all
be.
right, sure.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to be in their bathrobe with the virtual background, and you know what I
Right.
mean. Yeah, it's
It was
showtime,
great on
baby.
TikTok. But have you missed every funeral and wedding for the past 7 years like I have? No, you haven't. You haven't figured that out yet. You haven't figured out how hard how this game is. And I was just
Birthdays,
like, well,
anniversaries, everything,
everything,
holidays.
man.
Yeah,
Graduations. I mean, I still have nieces and nephews that don't even know I exist, and it's like sad because my sisters and brothers are like, "You never come around." Like, oh, I'm on tour. I'm doing radio tours. I mean, this is the hardest bit. I've dedicated my life to my craft, and it's nothing like anything else. I'm sure pro bowlers see their families more than I do, and so
they
um,
do.
it's just a hard
It's got to be
business,
like
man.
we should just title the podcast anything about the music industry, the worst decision ever.
The
I
worst
mean,
decision ever. Yeah, maybe I'm trying to talk everyone like not to do it so we can continue to grow.
I
But
find myself doing that with new people, and I have to remember, to teach, you have to inspire, and I'm not inspiring them if I'm telling them that they got the stars in their eyes, and I know how that feels, and you do too.
yeah,
And at some point in time, before reality clicked in and we realized what we got ourselves into, no matter what side of the industry you're on,
I don't want
you
anyone to get hurt. I mean, it's like if I was
yeah,
running a pirate ship and every day we rob people for gold or something. I wouldn't
right,
talk my cousin into doing it. I'd be like, you're gonna get shot at. This is a bad business. Go be a doctor or a lawyer.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's my
I don't
brother's
want
a
them on. I don't
veterinarian,
want them
so
in
yeah,
danger. So I don't promote this lifestyle. I'm not saying it's negative, and I love being a songwriter, and I
it's
don't know
not for
anything else.
everyone.
I don't know anything
It's
else
not
to
for
do.
everyone, and
Yeah.
until you get out there and actually do it. And the biggest thing is, you get a lot of people now, and this is a valid argument. Well, why am I going to go to radio when Spotify is doing more for artists? Well, yes and no. You have to do it all.
Yeah,
You
you have to
really
do
have.
it all.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just like, well, I'm really good on TikTok, so I don't care about Facebook and Twitter and everything else. And I'm like, well, you can have one that you put your focus on, but you still need to have a presence as much as possible on all, because not all
Yeah.
audiences are on a certain platform. And the biggest thing, and I'm really proud of a lot of younger artists, Rich, are doing this now. They're focusing on their website because they watched what happened on the social media platforms with the deplatforming.
Yeah.
And they're drawing their traffic like they should have been doing all these years. We got distracted by social media and put too much value in it. Your
Right.
website, you own those contacts. That's your list. Nobody can take that from you.
That's
They can't
true.
take your fan base away. Only you can screw it up.
Right. That's very true, actually. Collecting those emails and doing that is probably one of the best things. I mean, you see artists that are not as big as you think, and all of a sudden they're drawing 400 tickets. You see someone that's giant on Twitter or Facebook only draw 50 people, and they probably haven't done their homework. They haven't really figured that out yet.
They're on their game, brother. That's why they're there. They are on their game, man. They're using their tools, every bit of them.
Right. 100%. Like our YouTube's really weak. I just never did it. I never put a lot of stuff in our YouTube and our Pandora, and those are two weak things that really hurt us. I mean, there's a lot of flaws in the Rich O'Toole business because like I focused more on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Spotify. And there's so many that it's hard to do it all, but you do need to focus on all of it because there's so many different channels and aspects.
I would have taken you for a Facebook guy. You're a Twitter guy, huh?
Twitter's fun because it's fast and it's quick, and I'm fast and quick, and I like to send quick ideas out and stuff. Facebook, yeah, we have 45,000 followers on there, which is real weak for where we're at. We should be at around 500,000 or something, but I just never got on there because there was so much drama on Facebook. Because always someone's mom or drunk uncle had an opinion, and it was just tough to watch.
Well, it is a tough platform, and it's gotten tougher over the years. It really has.
It really has. You give every Yahoo a platform, and you're like, you shouldn't be talking about this.
I've fallen victim to that myself. I shouldn't say victim. I've been the idiot before and engaged in conversations I shouldn't have. And
we all have. I mean, sometimes you get riled up, and you gotta defend yourself. I've been victim of that 4 or 5 times in social media. Don't get. I've been an idiot where I've gotten drunk and got on there. And social media, you get intoxicated.
No way in the world. I've done that a couple times. Drunk before, have you, Rich?
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. Never, ever have I ever consumed the alcoholic beverages. That's why I have 2 trophies from Comal County. Yeah, I call them
it's trophies. Fun. I mean, it's fun to get drunk and go on social media because then your true self is actually out there.
Well,
you're telling it like it is until the morning, and then
repercussions.
Yeah, then in the morning you're on some blog and you're like, shit, I was only having fun. But that's something you learn. That's a life lesson you learn. That's what a kid learns. That's what makes you from a child to a man, and from an amateur to a pro. You have to learn all that stuff. And man, I definitely have failed numerous times, but it taught me the better way to do it when there was something more important. And thank God you learn when your songs are not as good, or you don't have enough money. If you have a certain amount of money behind something, now it's like, okay, we're a lot on the line because we have all this writing on it. Now I've learned all those mistakes. So maybe your $10,000 investment into a single is going to go a lot further because you're not making all the really dumb mistakes. So
it works. I appreciate you sharing that information with us. Let's talk a little bit about what is coming up for you. Current single to radio. Have you pushed something?
Yeah, we are. Yes. Me and Tammy Millspaw, she's one of the best in the scene.
She is. She's fantastic, man. You can't go wrong with her.
Me and her have done I think we've charted 20 songs in the top 10. And the song is called Texas Is My Home. It's great. It reminds me of the early Pat Green, Texas country stuff. It's going to be a big single for us this year. And so I'll do a full radio tour, visit all the stations, try to really get in the top 5 and get some traction on it. And base that around the tour. We're going to break new markets, do a lot of touring on the West Coast and East Coast, really break the Midwest. And it's going to be a lot of work for me. It's almost like starting over again, man, after COVID. And people are like, oh, once you get established, you can sit back. I think that you work harder once you're more established than you do in the beginning, because you have to continue to keep that business on the right track as you continue to. You have now a bigger staff that needs more money. You have bigger overhead. It never stops, just like anything else. And it's fun. And I don't want it to stop, but it takes, you have to be careful what you ask for, because the more you grow, the more responsibility you have with the product. So.
Amen, brother. So that single, is it out currently?
It'll come out in about 4 weeks. Oh, on
Okay,
Spotify,
cool. I
Apple
just
Music, and
want to
all
make
that.
sure I get it on the station on a
I'll send it
Texas
to you,
Internet
please. Yeah, I'll
Radio.
send it to you
Yeah,
once it's ready, and you can add it first, and kind of let your listeners do it.
cool,
We'll
man.
let we'll
I'll
let
send
it.
it
We'll
to
try to
the
get
other
it up to
PDs
like.
on the panel too. I mean, I know we're just an internet chart, but I'll send
Doesn't
it out
matter,
to the
man.
guys. Yeah.
I tell people all the time. One person. I try to make 10 to 15 new fans a day from all the
Yep.
social medias and stuff. And one person will end up spending $20 to $40 on a brand a year. That's a lot of money, man. So one person hears it, one person likes it. They'll buy a $20 concert ticket. They'll buy a
Yep.
$20 t-shirt. They will stream it. One fan can make you up to $200 to $300 a year. That's a lot of money, man. So
Yeah,
I don't.
especially if
I'd
you
get
have
on a
50 or
podcast with one listener
60,000.
because that one listener can make me $100 a year. That's a lot of money.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. That's a great way to look at it. I'm glad you broke it down like that. Because I think a lot of times I know I found myself overcomplicating things as I was going, and I still do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like hit a brick wall. I just launched a marketing agency, man. And like, I never thought in my life I would be wearing so many hats and still have my sanity somewhat,
Yeah, you probably lose your sanity, but then you get a good night's sleep and you're right back.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, it's like I'm not gonna get any younger than I am right now.
Yeah,
Number
man.
one, number two, there are no do-overs. You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
in the next life, but not in this one. Not
No,
on
not at
this
all.
third dimensional planet. There's not.
Yeah, unless they I don't know, they're making robot body parts and stuff. I mean, maybe me and you will last to 100 and something, but who would want to last that long?
I am the new improved Mark Sebby.
I got a robot heart.
Yes, bitch. Oh, tool on way beyond music.
I don't want to be there for that. I'm old school. I don't use any automation in the studio. We use all real players and stuff, and I hate all that stuff.
Cool.
So I guess it gets old the more I see it. But yeah, man, I it's hard, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun.
Well, very cool, man. And yeah, when you see Tammy, send her my love, or when you talk to her next, tell her thank you for everything she does for the music scene and the fantastic job she does for all you guys. And I'm looking forward. We're going to definitely have you back on. I know that we got a little late start, and I don't want to keep.
I'm so sorry about that too, man. That's so unlike me too.
Just as much my fault as yours. I
crazy week,
and I'm just earlier. So sorry. No, it's cool, dude. It happens, man. I just appreciate you being on the show, and if there's anything that I can do on this end of the desk for you at any point in time, man, reach out, let me know. I'm happy to help any way I can. Love what you're doing.
Mark, thanks, man. Like I said, I'll send you the new single. It's called Texas is My Home. And then if you're listening out there, please follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Of that, let's put your website up on that screen again real quick.
RichO'Toole.com has the tour dates, has the music.
You're right about the website. Your Twitter. What did I pull up? I pulled up that website, man, because that's where it's at.
Yeah, man.
Y'all go and sign up. Go to that little tab. It's right over there in the far right-hand corner underneath his name. It says contact. And fill out that form. Put in your cell phone. You do SMS marketing at all?
No, I haven't really gotten to that. There's just so many scamsters out there. It's hard for me to do that because people really think that it's your cell phone number. And it's weird. It gets weird.
It can, man. It's not your cell phone number.
No, not at all. It's not. Yeah. It's not Mike Ryan's cell phone number. It's not Randy Rogers' cell phone number.
No, man. It's a marketing team.
But you have some Yahoo that thinks it is, and you're like, man, I'm such a realist at heart. It's hard for me to be like, text me, because I see it on social media. It's like, text me, and it's like, man, I don't want to blow someone's phone up. They're getting busy enough. It's like, you know where to find it. I try to keep it really simple, because I think at the end of the day, people are going to find you if they really care. So it's all on there.
And that's a really good looking website, by the way.
Yeah, it's good. The guy David does a good job. He worked for Miranda Lambert and stuff for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, if I was tasked with, hey, you think you could do better than this? I'd be like, nah, man, I think you need to keep what you got. It's a good looking, clean website. It's really functional. Very well designed, man. Let him know.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll let David know. It's cool.
And your publicist does a great job too.
Yeah, we're the Average Joes. They're really good staff. I really like Claire, and I've worked with some really great people over the years, man. And it's fun because everyone in the music industry is passionate. It's the only job people are passionate about. I mean, you're not like building concrete and someone showing up going, man, this is so cool. Like, I can't believe we built this building, you know, maybe the first day, but not the last. So it's cool to work with people that are just passionate about a song because it gets them going. I mean, they show their kids, they show people, they show their friends, and they're like, "Good song," you know, because one song can change your life. You can hop over me tomorrow if you have the right song. It really, one song can really change your whole career.
Amen, man. Any message that you would give before we get out of here? Any message you would give to somebody just getting their start, just got their YouTube guitar lessons completed, and they're ready to be a rock star now? They've written 3 songs and they're ready to go at it, man. What
Don't
advice
make
would
the
you give
mistake
to
that
little me? Yeah,
the only mistake that all of us have is that you don't let ego get in the way. Because so many times I've let my ego get in the way, and I just had to put that aside. You'll get in your own way. Just put the ego aside and just focus on the music and focus on your brand and putting the music and brand together and just getting it in front of people, and the rest will follow. If you have a good brand, if you have a good message, you have good songs, it'll come together, and it'll take time, and you'll be frustrated and you'll have terrible days, but get back out there and get in front of the microphone and, you know, sell it to people and give them the opportunity to love it or like it and drop the ego. I mean, now when I get my haircut, like I got my haircut today and the barber's like, "What do you do?" And I was like, before I would say, "Oh, I'm in real estate or something." I didn't want to get into it. Now I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Rich O'Toole, man. Just check it out." And I have a song on Spotify and do it. You know, Mattress Mac in Houston, he's 89 years old or whatever, and still
yeah.
selling mattresses that way. So, you know, drop the ego and just be proud of your music. I mean, give it everything you got. That's the only way
Well,
to do it.
I love that, man. Thank you. Thank you again for being on the podcast tonight. We will be in touch and reaching out to you and your team about future opportunities. And if you're ever hanging out in the Canyon Lake area and down in New Braunfels or whatnot, and
Yeah,
you need a Sunday you want to do a little Sunday deal, I do a live one out in Canyon Lake, man. That
that's right. We talked about that, man. That's great. I used to
love
own
to
a
have
house in
you out
Canyon
if you
Lake.
ever have time. Yeah,
Yeah, you said house at Canyon Lake. I love that area, and man, that sounds like a deal. When the new album will come out in October, so we'll be doing a shit ton of press,
perfect, man.
and let's get back on it. Trust me,
Well,
I
yes,
love
sir. And
that.
God bless you and your family. And hey, y'all, thanks for tuning in tonight. We will catch you next Wednesday. Y'all say goodbye to Rich, and Rich say goodbye to everybody else.
Mark, thank you, brother. Thanks for having
Amen,
me on.
brother. Yep. And thank you. I appreciate you, man. You take care and best of luck on this next single.
You got it. I'll shoot it your way. So on the DM, just email me your email. I think I have it on there
Perfect.
already, but
Yeah,
we'll get it fired up. Thank you, man.
perfect. I appreciate it. You have a good night, brother.
All right, brother. God bless.